Right. DK, what up, baby? Oh man, Kaveh Greaves. Give me the correct pronunciation of your name, Kaveh, if I'm saying it wrong. JJ, what's good? Hey, Butter, what's up, man? Looking forward to having you on Friday, dog. Yes, sir. Trish, how you doing? We got to get Cat. I got to get in touch with Cat, man. I need Cat to do a project for me. Tell her I'm looking for her. Okay, welcome to the Positive Impact Podcast, where we talk about all topics related to the game that I love. I'm your host, Terrell Dozier, and tonight, special guest for me, very personal for me to have this young man on my podcast tonight. None other than New York State's all-time leading high school basketball scorer and now Syracuse freshman point guard, Joe Girard III.
What's up, Unc?
Nephew, what's going
You
on
can,
with you, boy?
you can hear me?
I can hear you good. You great. You
All right,
great.
perfect, perfect. What's
You
poppin'?
great. I'm good. How are you?
Chilling, chilling. Just got
Good.
done working out.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. We always do that. But
Yep,
listen, man, it's been a long time coming, man. This you jumping on here with me, man. So
yep.
first thing I want to ask is how you doing during the quarantine? How's you and your family doing?
Yeah, it's been good. Just trying to stay busy. Like you said, it's a tough time for all of us. We all just trying to, stay in shape. For where we to can be the best for whenever we can get back on the court. So, I've been working out, go to the gym with my dad. Whenever I can. There's a little private gym around here we've been able to get into, and then I got some weights and stuff downstairs in my basement that I've been doing to stay in shape and just stay up to beat so I can be, like I said, ready to go whenever we can get back out there.
My man, my man. So let's jump right into it, man. You talk about being at the gym with your dad. So, you come from a good line of basketball genes. Rest in peace to your grandfather.
Yep.
Who was a great coach in the upstate area,
Uh-huh.
and and also, your dad was a great player. One of the all-time leading scorers in Section 2 history. So
Yep.
you were bound to be, you were bound to be a good one. The ball was in your hand at an early age. So talk about what it was like growing up in Glens Falls, New York. You know what I'm saying? Which, as we know, is where the state championships are held every year. So talk about getting that ball put in your hand at an early age.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, it was just kind of, I was like born into it. Even besides my dad and my grandpa, you've met all my cousins and all my uncles and that and the other thing. I mean, a lot of people say it's the Girard town. So, I just kind of was born into the family, that athletic family. My cousins played above me. So it seemed like every year in elementary school, every year in middle school, I had a cousin that was on the varsity team that I was always looking up to. So, I kind of knew what I had to do to get there and always wanted to be like those guys at the time. But from my dad and my grandfather's, stance, it was always, I was hearing my dad was always better than my grandpa, and I got to be better than my dad. So I learned from my dad and my grandpa. Those were two of my main trainers when I was at a young age for sure, and those were the ones pushing me to be better as long as being my fans. So it was always just in the back of my mind that my dad was better than my grandpa, so I got to be better than my dad. And my grandpa at the time, he held all the single game scoring records, that and the other thing. And then my dad came, broke those. And it was just, I guess, my turn to break his too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you got the bragging rights in the family.
For sure.
So talk about, because obviously we've known each other for a long time. I know you since you was a little kid, but talk about the little chunky JG3, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stepping up to the foul line and being the national Elks foul shooting champion. Like, take us through that journey about being the best foul shooter in the country for your age.
Yeah, I did this Elks hoop shoot, like you said, national free throw competition since I was, I did it when I was 9 all the way to 13. The age levels are 8 through 13 and split up into 3. So it's 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12 and 13. And when I was 10, I won the New York State Championship, 11 New York State Championship, 12 New York State Championship, and 13. So I won 4 straight. And, just a lot of practice in that. But when I was 11, I won the whole thing and got my name in the National Basketball Hall of Fame for it. And, I was really focused on that. And, a lot of people were telling me that's going to help me down the line. And, being 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, you don't really think much of it. You just, say, okay, whatever. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. But as you can see, last year it helped me a lot. And even throughout my high school career. I practiced free throws my whole life, pretty much at that point, and it's shown. I led the ACC in free throw percentage last year, and just practicing so much, it's just become natural at this point. So, but that was a really cool experience for me. I'll be able to say I got my name in the Basketball Hall of Fame forever. And being when I was 11 years old, I didn't, like I said, really think much of it. But now that you see it and you realize what you did was pretty special, it's really cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like coming up, obviously, like, when you got into high school, you started playing with the City Rocks on the Nike EYBL circuit. But I remember you playing with the upstate, with the upstate, Capitals, and that team was, comprised of some, up north kids.
Yeah.
But y'all was beating the City Rocks sometimes. Y'all was
That was
beating
the squad. That was the squad.
You know what I'm saying? Had some real good, solid players on the team. So talk about your early AAU days, and then at some point having to make the switch to say I got to play at a higher level.
Yeah. So I think I started playing AAU in like 3rd, 4th grade or whatever. My dad was our coach, and we would just play at Glens Falls. And I always played at age level up. I was always playing, if I was in 4th grade, I was playing 5th grade. If I was in 5th grade, I was playing 6th grade. Just something like that. Just playing age level up to just try and, stay above the, competition. And a lot of my family was in that grade, so we just played with them. And, it came along. I was playing we always had a Glens Falls little like spring, or not spring, but a little basketball tournament at Glens Falls for the youth leagues. And like Shenandoah came, Shaker came, all the schools from down south would come up. Colony, my man Bryce and Isaiah and all those guys came up. We played them. And that was when I think I was in 4th grade playing the 5th grade level. And we played against Shen in one of the games. And I think even at that point I had like 30 or something in one game. And after the game, it was, I don't know if you remember, Ryan Lozano, Anthony Pizzo, and Nick Buda. Those were the coaches there. And they were the coaches of the Upstate Capitals. And, they came up to me and my dad after the game. And, we're talking to us about how they were forming this AAU team and something like that. And so I was just, at the time was really excited about it because that was like the first time any other coaches asked me to play on their team or whatever, and it was pretty cool for me. And me and my dad talked about it or whatever, and obviously I wanted to do it. But the one thing was, my dad still wanted me to play age level up.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked them what teams they were doing because they did two teams. One was my age and then one was the age level up, and they said that I could play in the age level up one. So I was in, and then from there, like you said, we had a really good team. Got really a few Division I players on it. I mean, even Reese Brown, who's going to go to UNLV like next year, I believe, he was on one of the teams. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had a bunch of guys on that team that ended up being really good high school players and going to be Division I and Division II and Division III basketball players as well. And like
Mm-hmm.
you said, there was a stretch where we beat the City Rocks, a lot more than they beat us. And then, but that was before EYBL happened. So once EYBL, that age came around, that's when I had to, make the jump.
Absolutely. And you got to excuse me for a sec, but if you're on my podcast, I need you guys to be respectful on my podcast. I don't know who you guys are, but please stay off my podcast with this negative stuff. I appreciate it. So I can't, as you start to get in 7th and 8th grade, we're going to move up and play. You're going to move up and play high school basketball. But before I get into your high school career, I got to talk about, Glens Falls had another basketball star come through who did his thing in high school, did his thing on the college level. You know what I'm saying? And Jimmer Fredette. So talk about, coming up and even watching Jimmer, you know what I'm saying? Precede you as that person in your hometown.
Yeah. So when I was, I think Jimmer graduated high school in 2007, I believe, or 2000, somewhere around there. Anyways, when I was really young at that time, my dad was the girls' head coach for varsity basketball at Glens Falls. So the girls and the boys team would always, do stuff together. So I was always seeing Jimmer at my dad's house or whatever, just chilling with us with the boys and girls team whenever they'd do something. And I was just always around it. And obviously that's when, all of us, younger kids were looking up to Jimmer because that's when his stardom started, I guess. And, he was that dude. At the time, it was a really big deal. He was the Section 2 all-time leading scorer. And, put on for the city. Got him to the state tournament, state championship. Unfortunately, lost, but he was really a good hero for all of us at that time. And then as he went to college, I was starting to hit the elementary school ranks and starting to play basketball a little bit more seriously, organized, and playing whatever. So that's when we started watching him. In his senior year and junior year, he blew up. And I remember we always had these, like Jimmer party things to watch their games or whatnot because there was always so far west that his games would be on late. So we'd have to, on the weekends, we'd have to watch him late at night. But it was always fun. And I remember the Jimmer Mania party we had from when he got drafted. He was a lottery pick, and that was crazy. So I always remember that. And he's just always been a great role model for all of us to, just follow his footsteps and hopefully be like he did one day. Do all the stuff he did.
Absolutely, not absolutely. So I think eighth grade year, you move up to the varsity level.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? First game out the gate. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I got an 8th grader playing varsity.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And now, okay, so 8th grade, okay, I'm gonna take some lumps, but you come right out 31 first game and the game winner. You know what I'm saying? So talk about that moment, like, okay, like,
yeah,
some people gotta wait their turn, but I'm just gonna jump right in. Like, I'm here to stay for the next 4 years, like for the next 5, 4 years after this. So talk about that moment, your first 8th grade, your first varsity game in 8th grade.
No, that was crazy. Going in, to backtrack a little bit, 7th grade, I played freshman. And that was the first time, like, people started questioning, like, if I was the real deal or not, or what this, that, and the other thing. And so I was always just out there to try and prove it. And, I've led the team in scoring and, assists that year. We were pretty good. And the varsity coaches, liked what they saw from me. And, they pulled me up to practice with the varsity team a few times before sectionals happened or whatever when my season was over and they were still going. And, I practiced pretty well, even as a 7th grader against those guys who were 18, 19 years old. And so the next year they asked me to play, varsity. And they asked me if I wanted to. And I said, of course. I was ready for the challenge. And the big thing with me was I always wanted to prove myself. and just keep getting better and show people you prove them wrong. And that's kind of what I did. Going into it at the time, people were just were wondering if I could even play a role on the team and even get in the game or whatever and help these guys. But eventually, I cracked the starting lineup within like 2 weeks of practices and even the scrimmages, and I was proving myself. And then, like you said, that first game, I had 31 in the game-winning 3 at the buzzer. Got my first Division I offer from High Point after that game, and just from there, the rest was history. And but like, it was just about me trying to prove myself each and every day and just be better than what people thought I was gonna be.
Absolutely. Not absolutely. So you went on and, your numbers went up year after year after year. Besides, even though like you were like a focal point of everybody's offense. So like everybody who played Glens Falls was there to stop you. You know what I mean? Basically. So, you're really like a pure, you're a pure shooter, but you had to handle the ball a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And help your teammates and facilitate for your teammates at Glens Falls. So talk about making that adjustment and, and getting everybody involved, which has now helped you in your first year of college.
For sure. For me, it was actually a lot easier because, like you just said, I was always like the focal point. And, with that being said, there was like 2-3 guys coming at me once I crossed half court. Usually there was one dude who would try and press me 94 feet. And if I got by him, there's 2 or 3 come through, another one and another one after that coming at me. And it was just a lot easier for me to just look up and find guys. And, on my team, my teammates were really underrated just for the role they played because, I had my cousin and a few other guys who could, could light it up from 3. And if they're open, they're splashing that thing. So all I had to do was really get them the ball. And then we had a few big guys inside who could, obviously all they had to really do was either get a rebound from one of us outside or I'm going to give it to them inside for a wide open layup or dunk. And, they did that. So we had a lot of good guys. And I think that the way, people were down with me because I played at a public school, it actually helped me because, like I just said, getting 2 or 3 guys coming at you every play and having to handle the ball and really being kind of the only one who can handle it makes it even much easier when you're going to college and you're only facing one guy because, colleges aren't going to throw 2 or 3 guys at you because you got other Division I players around you who could score as well. So I think that's what helped me the most and got my handle to where it is and to be able to pass the ball like I do.
Absolutely. So being from a town like Glens Falls, like obviously like you was always in the gym, working on taking your game to the next level. So talk about like that 8th grade year and then, okay, now I'm in 9th grade. Like talk about the things that you would work on year to year to better yourself, knowing that you were going to get the type of attention that you got.
Yeah, after 8th grade, I kind of realized, and even that next year, we graduated some of the seniors that, I led a team scoring in 8th grade, but those guys below me were graduating. So I knew I had to play a bigger role. We had a new coach coming in as well. Ended up being my cousin. So, I was kind of already comfortable with him, but I played for him the year before, but I never really had, played for him at a varsity level. So he came in, changed the culture of the program. We're going to play tough, this, that, and the other thing, play fast. And it just kind of fit right into my play style because, like you said, I like to shoot a lot of threes, run up and down, score a lot of points. Our team throughout my high school career probably averaged damn near 88 to 90 points a game. And so that was really fun for me. We usually would hold guys to 60 or below, which is pretty good in high school, to be honest. We've been playing 4 quarters. So, it was always a really fun, style basketball to play. And I enjoyed it so much. We got some hate for it, but, we were just out there playing our basketball game, getting ready for playoffs, and just having a lot of fun. So, each and every year, I don't even know if, I was working on everything, obviously. I don't know if there's one specific thing, but I was just working to get better to, even win more games. Because my 3rd year, I played pretty well, and our team was pretty good, but we didn't have the success that I had the rest of the 4 years in high school, and I kind of was just mentally preparing myself to win a lot more games than I had that year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you talk about getting a lot of flack for the level of play that you was at. So, you scored a lot of points, but there's always going to be people out there that are going to say, well, he plays Class B basketball, or he's upstate and he doesn't play anybody. But you know what I mean? Like for me, listen, in order to get 50 points in the game, to average 50 points in the game, you got to be able to put the ball in the bucket. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care where you're at or whatever the case may be. Right. But, what I had the privilege of was, following you down to North Carolina at the CP3 camp.
Yes, sir.
and
Yes,
saw
sir.
you play against high level competition. Cole Anthony, all those
Yep.
guys, like, you know what I mean,
All my
and
guys, yeah.
saw you put out
Yep.
and
For
make the
sure.
All-Star game down there.
All-Star game.
So talk about that. Like talk about like what it was like. Like I know I live in Glens Falls.
Yeah.
This is who I play against. I'm gonna do my thing here, but
Uh-huh.
when I step up to that level with the kids that everybody knows about, I'm still
Yeah.
gonna do my thing too. So talk about the difference in level of play.
And that's pretty much what it is. It's a big difference. But I could even say, we got guys who came through, like you said, Jimmer. We could name Joe Cremo. We could name all these kind of guys who even played Division II or even Division I. Those two guys play high level Division I. Mike Van Scoy went from Glens Falls as well to Fairfield. So we had a lot of guys that just were underrated, and it just seemed like it was really bad just because the numbers that I was putting up, and it just kind of made it look bad, I think. But we can back our statement up now. We didn't just win a state championship; we won a federation championship as well.
Mm-hmm.
So these city teams and these private teams, we were still beating. You know what I mean? And we went down to the city of Palms in Florida, and
Mm-hmm.
we beat 6A schools from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot to back ourselves up and had a lot of fun with it. So we didn't really listen to much of it, but like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I would transition and go play. Besides the camps, I went to, like you said, I was with you at the CP3 camp. Then I went to Super Soft. And then I went to the Nike Top 100 camp the next year. But even besides that, playing in the UIBL, you're going up against, not even for a weekend, you're going up against Cole Anthony, Brian, all these guys who for every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta match their potential and match their skills, no matter where you're coming from. If you're on that level, you got to be good and you got to show out each and every game.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of why I didn't really listen too much of it because I knew I proved myself on the UIBL each and every year and was on a Syracuse team that proved themselves every year.
Mm-hmm. So what was different? What was different about your game? So like I said, you had to be a facilitator for your high school team.
Yep.
But then like all of a sudden, March, April comes, and now I'm on the City Rock team with Isaiah Stewart, Micah Adams Woods, Side
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I get to play off the ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
So talk about that adjustment. Talk about that adjustment from being a facilitator to now going back to what I feel like is your natural thing in and during the EYBL season.
Yeah, I think the combo guard thing came from just the EYBL thing because, personally, I feel I'm more comfortable with the ball, being a point guard or whatever. That's why I think I was, successful to get a spot at Syracuse. And that's why I played this year because of the way that I was able to do it. And I already told you, like, all the 2-3 guys coming at me each and every play in Glens Falls. And with me being really the only guy who could handle it, I had to figure out how to do it around 2 or 3 guys. And that's why it made it so much easier for me with one guy guarding me. But besides that fact is, like you just said, I had Mike Adam Woods, Samir Torrance, all these guys, Isaiah Stewart, and all these guys, Naz Carter, who were around me that took a lot of the pressure off of me. And, I didn't need to do everything. So it just made it even more easier for me. And people might think that I'm going into a hard competition, I'm not going to play well, but they don't realize that, I'm playing in a different role and doing a different thing to help our team win, not just have my job.
No doubt about it. So, people can say what they want about you, but the one thing that they need to say was this kid won.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And not just basketball wise did I score and win, but if you come out and see me in the fall,
we on that football.
You see me throwing that pigskin about 60 to 70 yards too. So talk about playing football in the fall. And some people felt like maybe you should stop playing football because it could ruin your basketball career. But you had such a love for football that you played that. So talk about that pigskin a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, I loved it. So I didn't stop that. I had to stop baseball due to that getting in the way of AAU in the spring. But I love football so much that I never wanted to end it. And like I said, I wanted to, I didn't want to let my brothers down, my cousins down, my family, all these friends, all my coaches. I was playing football and I loved it. And for a while, I was getting recruited, and it was real. And it wasn't like I was just leading these colleges on. When you got Penn State, Indiana, all these Big Ten, and even ACC schools calling you to play football, to play quarterback, you got to listen because it's kind of crazy. And, you see these football guys, it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's fun to play. And, I loved it. I think Glens Falls has definitely produced probably more Division III or Division II or Division I football players than they have basketball players. And we're kind of got a lot of football, program highlights, but we also have a lot of the basketball highlights now with Jimmer and all these guys who scored 1,000, 2,000 points and whatnot. But playing football, I never wanted to give it up, and it was hard for me to give it up in college. I had plenty of schools offer me both spots, and I always wanted to do it, but I won 2 state championships at the Dome, at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, so that's just fitting for me to go there. But I loved it. I mean, I could go on and on about talking about football just because how much I miss it, how much I want to play it. But basketball is obviously the right choice for me.
No doubt about it, man. Like state player of the year in football and state player of the year in basketball. It's not a lot of people who can stake that claim. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But,
even the same year.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. So let's talk about your family again because, I've obviously talked to your parents a lot, but going into like your junior year and then definitely going into your senior year, there was like this huge media buzz for you, and it's a lot to handle. You know what I mean? Like I know how it is with the phone calls and everything like that, and so talk about how you were able to handle that. And I know I know you guys had a small circle, and I'm blessed to be a part handled all that because everybody was coming at you and wanted a piece of you, but you was just trying to be a regular kid.
Yeah. I mean, it was hard. I mean, like you said, I was in the spotlight a lot, and but low key, it felt like me and my parents and somebody like you and my grandma and whatever, we were kind of living in secret. I had Coach Boeheim have dinner at my house here. I had Coach K have dinner at my house here. Coach Beeline have dinner at my house here. All these big time coaches literally sat in my living room and had dinner with me and my mom and whatnot, my dad, and just discussed me going to their house or me going to their school. And nobody really knew about it. My dad, about my dad. He wants to do everything the right way and make sure that nothing's going down wrong. So I always had to wait to tell everybody until after the fact that it happened to let them know. You like all these recruiting, outlets want to tweet it out, say Coach Boeheim, GMAC are at his house, Coach K and Shire are at his house right now. But we wanted to wait because with the city that I lived in, that everybody's going to come to my house if they hear Coach K's here. Everybody's going to come to my house if they hear Coach Boeheim's here. So I just wanted to wait to make sure that, after they left and after we had dinner and after this, that, then I let you know. But I was living in secret for a while. Just wanted to, keep it peaceful because, like you said, it got crazy at times. I mean, you were at the games. I was waiting after games for hours and a half, sitting in a line, signing stuff, doing pictures, and then security had to take me out and when the lights went off, that and the other thing. So, I mean, it was crazy. Just being 17, 18, having to go through that stuff, it was awesome. But you know what I'm saying? It was an amazing feeling. But at the same time, you got to do what's best for you and, try and keep it low key.
Absolutely. So, magical senior year. Magical.
Yeah.
In the fall, like you said, I lead my team to a state championship at the Dome. So I cap off my senior year with a football chip. But I never got the basketball chip.
Yeah.
Like I've done everything individually. This is my last chance to get this state chip. I gotta get this state chip. I done averaged 50 points a game. I done got these player of the year accolades. I don't care about that. I need this basketball chip.
Yeah.
And you finally get the basketball chip.
That's why I need it.
Not after. But wait a minute. I didn't get the chip until after I scored 4,763 points in my career, and I become the New York State all-time leading scorer. Please talk to me. Take me from the state championship football game through your senior year, breaking the all-time record, and finally bringing the chip.
Yeah, like you said, that was my main motive. All year, like you said, there was all the individual stuff was gone by then. It was already accomplished and whatever, and I wasn't really thinking too much about it. Going into my senior year, I wanted to get one more state championship in football. We got upset the year before. I got one my sophomore year, but junior year we got upset in the state semis. Wanted to get that last one my senior year. We accomplished that. It was a hard-fought battle, but we got through it. A lot of suspensions through some guys, a lot of injuries, whatever, but we got through it and won it eventually. And then, my basketball year, the state title was the only thing left on the bucket list. And, it was long. It was hard-fought. We were kind of slept on all year. I mean, I think we beat a 6A team from Georgia, which is like 7 times the size of our school. And then we beat a number 1 team in the state at the time in our sectional championship. people still were doubting us, saying we weren't that good. Then we went to the state semifinals, beat another one, potential number one team in the state, and then we go into state final. And I had I tore all my ligaments in my ankle the night before, and nobody knew about it. My mom was crying the day of the game. She didn't think I was going to be able to play. But because I was sitting in the locker room while people were warming up or whatever, I couldn't stretch. Everybody's wondering what's going on. And I had to sneak over from our hotel to the gym, getting carried over because I couldn't walk. My ankle was, bigger than a softball and all purple. My whole foot was purple. And then when it was time to warm up, I went out there. I was on some, Tylenol, whatever, to make it go away. And that adrenaline was kicking in as well. So that went away, and I was just ready to go. And hit the game time three, hit the buzzer to send it to OT, and then the rest was history. In overtime, hit the game winning shot, got on Sports Center, and we just won that state title. But the main motive that year obviously was the state title, but with the year it fell, the state championship was in Binghamton, and then the federation tournament was back in Glens Falls. So we kept saying we want to get back to Glens Falls, we want to get back to Glens Falls, we want to get back to Glens Falls, and we got back, made it to the federation tournament, and that semifinal game, you couldn't breathe without someone next to you. I mean, there were 7,000 people in there, sold out, and we run out, and you just got chills. I mean, I remember warming up, and I just got chills right as I ran out, and we had the whole city behind us, cheering us on, backing us up like they did all year. But this time it was to a max, and we knew that we couldn't let them down. And then eventually we just went and won that federation championship. I mean, we beat some pretty good teams, one from the city and then one from Buffalo that was undefeated. So, I mean, we proved everybody wrong and just, had a great year. And just the senior year was a movie for sure. I wish we documented it, but
somebody got some footage somewhere. Somebody got some footage.
What's good, Girard? How you doing, my boy? Yeah, but we just went. Like I said, I wish someone was documenting that. We would have been on a movie, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So Syracuse, Penn State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Boston College, and Duke. Yep. Final 6 colleges. Obviously, you picked Syracuse. Talk about the process, how you broke that down. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what final 2 did it come down to?
So like I said, all those 6, I had every head coach come in here and sit in my house, talk to me. I visited all 6 of those schools as well. I mean, they each preach pretty much the same thing. They want me, they need me. They want me to be successful in their program. They're all 6 of them are successful programs with great head coaches, great traditions. But, I played AAU with Buddy for a long time. So, I got familiar with him and Coach Boeheim. And then even farther than that, I got familiar with Mrs. Boeheim and the whole family, and my mom it's kind of crazy to say, but my mom was more like friends with Mrs. Boeheim than it is like a recruiting thing. You know what I mean? So it was just like, it was like a family thing. It was more comfortable. I was comfortable with Coach B, just the way that, my grandfather, if you sat down and had a conversation with Coach Boeheim and hung around him and interacted with him, it reminded you just of him. And that's kind of why I felt so comfortable with him. It was just like another one of my poppy to me, you know what I'm saying? And
no doubt.
Obviously the Hall of Fame, coaching in them just put it over the top. So I felt there was no better place. I'm a hometown kid, whatever, 2 hours away. And, like we just talked about with the support I had from Glens Falls, there's no better place than to do and have these guys come support me for the next 4 years than at Syracuse, just because how close it is and the ability for them to come, get it there. And once it happened, I just remember all the stores here having all the Syracuse stuff, and we was able to get it all. So it was cool.
Nice. So, you get up to Syracuse and, I got a chance to get up there and see you play. So talk about the biggest adjustment, from being in Glens Falls and having the success that you had in high school to now kind of like, okay, I got to learn the ropes for a Hall of Fame coach and arguably one of the toughest conferences in the country.
Yeah.
And I got to play the point. So talk about some of the growing pains that you had your first year at Syracuse.
Yeah, it was pretty much just starting all over again because, I'm not going to say I got handed anything here. I obviously had to work for it, and I obviously had to prove myself each and every day. But there's a lot of things here that, I could do that I couldn't do. I can't do at Syracuse. You know what I'm saying? And I had to reprove myself. I had to restart over and, be a new player, be a new person, and just, start proving myself again, like I said. And I think the biggest adjustment is, here in high school, like I said, I was in the National Honor Society, so I only had to go to school when I had a class, and other than that, I was home working out, or I was at the YMCA getting shots up before practice or whatever, after practice and whatnot, just getting ready. And then at Syracuse, you get there and you could leave your apartment at 7 in the morning and not get back till 7 at night or 8 at night, because you got tutors all day, you got study halls, you got classes, and then you got a lift that you got to work out, and then you got another practice and then probably another lift or something. So I mean, and that's on top of doing stuff on your own, because if you don't do stuff on your own, you're gonna be, on the back of the bus, and not being able to do much. So I just figured that out real quick, that I'm pretty much going to have a job rather than going to school and playing basketball. But all it all, but all the other people see is what you're doing on TV, playing in that game. They don't see all the background noise and all the background work that goes into it. What you're doing on the daily.
Mm-hmm. So talk about, what it's like playing for Jim Boeheim. Like, obviously, like if you don't know him, he's super animated on the sideline. He looks like he's about to like lose it at any time. Like every play down is like Joe.
Yeah.
Like, so talk about how he's helped your game and taking your game to another level.
Yeah, just being mentally tough, just being confident, because he'll just yell sometimes to yell at you because he wants it done his way, and usually I'd say 10 out of 10 times he's right. I mean, the way he wants it is the right way. And like you said, there's a lot of people outside of it will think that he's just a grumpy older man who doesn't care. He just wants to yell, but that's not true. He wants to win. That's why he's still, in my opinion, the winners coach or whatever, with what's happened. But he's still the best. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. He knows what he's talking about. So I think just the biggest thing he's helped me with is just being confident. I mean, the mental side of the game. He's going to tell you he wants you to do this and wants you to do that, but it's all for the best of you and for the best of the team, because that's what we're here to do. He ain't favoring nobody. He's just ready to go. He's ready to win, and that's what we all got to do. So I mean, if you're on the same page as coach, you're gonna be good. And I mean, the only reason that you'd be on the same page as him is if you want to win. So you're good if that's the case.
Absolutely. So Joe Girard III comes from a small town in New York State, Glens Falls, New York, and goes to Syracuse.
Yep.
As a basketball historian, the first thing I think about when you make that decision is he about to be the next Jerry McNamara.
Yeah. Yep.
So Jerry came from a small town. Yep. Everybody from Scranton used to come up and watch Jerry, from there. And Jerry had a great career. And not only does your high school career and your background mirror Jerry McNamara's, but now he's one of your coaches. So talk about, how he's also helped your transition, because I think you do a similar thing to Jerry as well.
Yeah. So besides the fact of me, what I've got said, like with being comfortable with Coach Boeheim and his family, I'd say the second biggest reason, if not the biggest, is GMAC. He recruited me since 8th grade or whatnot or whatever, and just preached to me about how he just sees himself in me. And after doing my research or whatever, and my dad doing his research, how my dad was, just after doing all that stuff, there's nobody. He's the one who works out with the guards. He would tell me he does this, that, and the other thing. And I think it'd be stupid for me to not learn from somebody other than him. I mean, he did everything. If Jimmer was on staff somewhere, obviously, that's another guy. But GMAC's the guy that played just like me in college, was successful, won a national championship. Why wouldn't I want to learn from him? I'm trying to be the same exact guy. I play just like him. We got similar styles, similar body types, this, that, and the other thing. Why shouldn't I learn from him and see how he was successful and then try and translate into my game?
No question about it. So obviously, like the season got cut short because of this pandemic that we're in, and you guys were getting ready to go to the ACC tournament. Yep. So talk about like your reaction, and like, do you remember like where you were at when you got that news? Like, there's not going to be an ACC tournament and the season is over.
Yeah. So we had that big game against Carolina, last game of the year. Smoked them by 30. Played our best game all year, we think, and we're really confident and really excited about how we were playing at that time. And at that time, we had already known that the next day we were going to be playing just without fans. We were going to have the game at this point. We were without fans, And we thought it was gonna be weird or whatever, but we were ready to play. We're not playing for nobody else but ourselves. We want to be ACC tournament champions.
Mm-hmm.
So after the Carolina game, a few of us guys got selected to go to the media room because there was the whole pandemic was going on, and they needed to have our
Mm-hmm.
own media room for people who to socially gather or whatever. And so we went in there. I think it was me, Marag, Buddy, and Elijah. So at that time, and they were telling us all about Rudy Gobert had got the virus, and in my head, I was just thinking at that time, I was like, okay, like something's gonna happen. I mean, if he's got it, like I don't think the NBA is gonna keep playing. If the NBA doesn't play, there's no way college plays. So nothing that really happened. I mean, it was just all in my head, like something's gonna happen bad that we're gonna be upset with or whatever. But I mean, obviously, it turned out to be for the better. But whatever. And then the next day, obviously, we're ready to play Louisville. And about 12:30, we're going to High Point, actually, for our shoot-around.
Okay.
So we were getting ready to go there, and we're watching the TV because all this stuff's happened. The SEC canceled, Big 12 canceled, Big 10 canceled, whatever. But Clemson and Florida State were still about to play on ESPN, and we're watching it. And then all of a sudden, they just go inside during warm-ups and don't come back out for mad long. And we're sitting there like, uh-oh. And we're all about to head down to the lobby to get on the bus to go to the shoot around. And then we get a text from one of our head managers saying, tournament's canceled, go back to your rooms and pack your bags. And, that night, I mean, right when that happened, we were all, I mean, you're not laughing about it. You're just like in shock. You know what I mean? You're like, is this real life? Like, I feel like I'm in a movie right now.
Right.
Like, this is something you don't see. Like, it just doesn't feel real.
Right.
And with Coach Boeheim being Coach Boeheim and having the pull, we got a red eye out that night. We came back to Syracuse, but I mean, it was upsetting. And we were obviously all upset because we wanted to keep playing. That's what we were there to do. We wanted to, win the tournament. We just had our best game. We wanted revenge on Louisville from earlier in the season, and we were upset. But I mean, if you look at the positive, that was probably our best game of the year. That's the first time we've beaten Carolina in the last 9 or 10 games that we played them. So there's a lot of positives, and the way we did it in fashion we did it in was pretty crazy. So that was the one positive. But other than that, we were upset for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so now your freshman year is over. Hopefully you'll be getting back up to school soon to, to resume workouts and stuff. What's the biggest thing that you take from your freshman year that you feel like you got to bring in your sophomore year in order to make a jump? What's the biggest improvement that you feel like you need to make?
Just decision making on both sides of the ball. A lot of people think that the zone's a lazy defense, but they don't really know the way we play it. It's really hard. You got to, especially at the top of the zone, you got to run to different spots. You got to know where to be at what time and what circumstance, know where everybody is. And even if someone's behind you and let's say it was Ryan McMahon when we were playing Louisville and then he was lighting us up, you got to be over there and know where he is at all times because you don't want to be that guy to let up a three and have Coach Boeheim be mad about it. So I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into it, and it's just decision making pretty much on that side of the ball as well. And then on offense, I think Coach said that I had like the highest, like the best turnover percentage in the whole country for all freshmen, and so that was pretty good, a pretty good stat. And I kind of wanted to keep that and get to like a little bit over a 2-to-1 turnover assist to turnover ratio like I had last year. And so I'm just kind of carry that over because as a point guard, you got to take care of the ball. Don't get me wrong, you got to share it and give other guys the ball when they need it, when they're supposed to be, when they're open. But the best thing is just to take care of it and not give it to the other team. Because if you're giving it to the other team, you're handing away buckets, or you're just not giving your team a chance to get one. So I think that's the biggest thing as a point guard is just being able to take control of the ball and know where to be at and know where everybody else is supposed to be at all times.
Absolutely. So, even though you might get back up to school soon, but still, like how basketball is going to be played this year is still up in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still so many questions. So, so I know you and I talked last week about it, but like part of like going to Syracuse, a big part of Syracuse is like, I want to play in front of 35, 40,000 at the Dome.
Yep.
Like imagine playing basketball in the Dome and
with no fans,
nobody there. Like, what I'm saying? Like like think about that for a second. And I think we
Yeah.
talked about you might, I'd rather play in the Mellow
Mellow
Center,
Center, for sure.
because the dome is such an advantage for you guys. So
Right.
talk about the possibility of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be unreal. And I mean, like I just said, we were playing in AC tournament. It was in Greensboro, North Carolina, at the Coliseum, and that arena's huge as well. And when we played Carolina, it was a sea of Carolina blue around, and there was probably 20-something thousand people of just Carolina fans there. And the next day we were supposed to be there, and there was probably going to be 20 fans in the whole arena watching. So we were prepared for that, and it probably would have been good if we played just to see what it was like or whatever. But if that happens in the Dome, man, I don't know. Like you said, this is the whole big thing about home court advantage. And a big part of it is, our fans, because we put 30,000 plus in there at a lot of games, and we get excited when we got the fans behind us. So, I mean, it'll still kind of be an advantage because I think it'll be even harder for other teams to come in and play in a dome with no background or no nothing. But we go in there for a shoot around or two a day before a game, and even before the game. So I think it'll help us too. But I mean, it's just the atmosphere of playing in the dome is crazy with fans. I mean, you were there, you watched the game. It's crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, I probably like playing in the Mellow Center. What might be cool or whatever. I mean, if you can't have fans, but it probably just won't work.
Right. No doubt. So somebody wants to know. So we got 3 more years at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Will football ever be an option, or is football buried and gone? Can we give it? Has a thought crossed your mind? I might try it 1 year.
Yeah. So funny you ask. Like I said, I had a lot of colleges recruiting me for football in high school, and Syracuse had sent me a few letters and asked me to come visit, and that was the one place where Mr. Boeheim, Coach Boeheim football. So I don't really know if it'll happen at Syracuse. I'm hoping to become a professional basketball player at some point here, but I know that Greg Paul's from Duke. He played 4 years of basketball at Duke and then went and played his 5th year of eligibility at football at Syracuse. So at this point, I think that might be the only possibility of me playing football. But other than that, Coach Boeheim is not a fan of that idea.
Yeah, I bet he's not. I bet he's not. So as we get ready to wrap this thing up, man, I wanna ask you a couple of quick hitters.
Yeah, go ahead.
So during this pandemic right now, what are you binge watching right now?
Okay. It's funny you asked that because the past few days I've been watching this show all day, other than working out and eating. Law and Order SVU. I got a big ding to that. It's pretty interesting to see all these, scenes or whatever, how these, FBI agents and detectives get involved in this stuff. So, and then it'll freak me. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like my mom watched it one night with me at night, and I walked upstairs a few hours later. She woke up all worried, thinking like she was in the show or whatnot. So I think that was pretty funny. She probably shouldn't be watching with me.
Oh my God! What you snacking on?
Snacking? Anything I can get my hands on at this point. You know me.
So, give me your toughest opponent this year.
Okay. Yeah. Can I name a few?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say the guys that probably got the best of us this year. I'll name 3 that just come to mind. I'm sure there's more. But Luka Garza, he played really well against us at the Dome from Iowa. Vernon Carey played really well against us at the Dome as well from Duke. And then Cole, the first time that we played the Carolina at the Dome, Cole played really well. So I'd say that those 3 played really well against us in those 3 games.
Okay. What's your best game this year? Describe your best game.
Best game? A lot of people might think it was either that 30-point game, but I'm not going to go with that because I didn't really shoot well and we lost. So I'm going to go with the game at Virginia. That was a big game, for me and the team. We got back on track. We beat Virginia. That was the first. They were defending national champs, and they don't lose a lot at Virginia. So in Charlottesville. So I mean, when we were there, I think I had around 20 or something, a few rebounds, a few assists, and we won, which was the biggest thing. And it got it. Like I said, the 2 games before that, we lost at home. We lost against Notre Dame, and we lost against Virginia Tech by a combined 4 points. So we we were on the hooks, and a lot of people was down on us. And I mean, we're going as they should. We was going to Virginia, the defending national champs, and they don't lose there. And then we come in and we play a really good game and beat them.
No doubt, no doubt. Go-to move.
Go-to move.
Yeah.
I like the hezzy and then between the legs step back for sure.
Okay.
Hey, I see my man Kadari's in here. Don't be listening to that, but when we go back to practice, I'm gonna pull something out for sure.
Okay. And please don't read that Franklin is your toughest opponent.
Oh my gosh, Franklin, bro. Once you had that surgery, you lost all that height. I don't know if you've been a ball player no more.
What you got playing? What you got on repeat right now? Who are you listening to?
I'm a big Drake guy. Old Drake, new Drake, semi-old Drake, anything Drake. That's all me. I'm a big fan of Lil TJ as well, but I say I'm a OG Drake fan for sure.
OG Drake fan, okay.
Yeah.
And then my last one, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I want to see where your history is at.
Oh man, all right.
Give me an all-time Syracuse starting five.
All right, me not included, right?
Whatever you want to do.
Nah, I'm gonna go with OGs. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Damn, this is tough. I'm gonna go G-Mac. That's my guy.
Okay.
All right, G-Mac. Devo is also my guy. I gotta go with Devo. Eric Devendorf.
Who's that?
Eric Devendorf.
Okay.
Mello for sure.
Okay.
Hakeem Warwick. And at the 5, who we going with? Fab Mello. R.I.P.
Fab Mello.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good starting 5 right there, Unc. That's a good starting 5.
I got you. My wife gonna be a little bit upset though.
Yo, I got some substitutes if you want me. Like I can give you a 6, 7.
No, we had needed to start in 5. So I'm gonna play your team though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have Pearl and Sherman Douglas.
Okay, yeah, see, yeah, I know, like,
you know what I mean?
No, I feel you. Like I ain't going way back.
I gotta put Mello on it. Yeah. And then I gotta have Derek Coleman.
Yeah, see,
I feel you. And then Cycly at the 5. That's
okay.
I'm a y'all up. We're gonna go with it.